Okay, good afternoon. Kalispera from Greece, Crete, the Hellenic Mediterranean University. It's a great pleasure for us to organize the 2024 Erasmus Days on behalf of Hellenic Mediterranean University and the Virtual Exchange Project Impact, and of course the Athena European University. Welcome to the fourth day of this European Erasmus Days organized by our institute. And the fourth day is dedicated to technologies and policies for virtual internationalization. And we have 7 presentations, and we have invited high-level speakers to support this direction of today's topic. So it is my pleasure and our honor to have today with us as the first speaker Abdelillah Kadili he's the founder and president of the Tamkine Foundation. Abdelillah, I will now give you the co-host in order to be able to share your screen. Abdelillah will talk to us about international partnerships as a lever of internationalization and improvement of education. So please, Abdelillah, share your screen and start your presentation. You have 10 minutes and followed by 5 minutes of a Q&A session. Thank you very much.
Okay. Eli, Aya Azadou will be presenting while I'll be talking. So if you could please grant her presenter status instead of me, that would
Could you please repeat the name? Could you please repeat the name?
Aya Azadou.
Okay.
Aya Azadou. She's at the bottom of our screen.
Okay.
By Tatiana.
I think it's done.
Thank you so much. So I would have loved to talk about Tamkine and the technology the foundation developed along with our partner Tamtex Technologies. But and maybe in another opportunity we'll do that. I've chosen international partnership as a lever of internationalization and improvement of education because that's what we've been doing. So let me to start as a start to say how pleased I am to be with you and how honored to participate to this session dedicated to exploring the important topic of technologies and policies for virtual internationalization. You know my name, and I am the president of the Tamkine Foundation, which we started about 10 years ago. We will be celebrating our 10th year next year. I'll move to say that education has always benefited from internationalization. Centuries ago, scholars and researchers embarked on long journeys across the globe to share their knowledge and learn from others. Whether in medicine, science, mathematics, humanities, these intellectual pioneers not only contributed to the growth of their own disciplines, but also fostered a spirit of collaboration that transcended their borders. Figures such as Ibn Battuta, whose I just mentioned, whose travel took him to distant land, to India, to China, to other countries. Al-Khwarizmi, to whom we go back with algorithms, whose work laid the foundation for algebra and AI, exemplify how knowledge exchanged across regions enriched both the scholars and the society they visited. Similarly, the work of Ibn Khaldun in historiography and sociology, and Al-Razi's contribution to medicine illustrate how intellectual exchange strengthened the global pursuit of knowledge. In those days, internationalization was achieved through physical travel and correspondence, which was limited to the fortunate people and fortunate few. Today, however, technological advancement, particularly in information communication technologies and artificial intelligence, have opened the door for unprecedented opportunities for the internationalization of education. These technologies have made it possible for knowledge, know-how, and expertise to be shared, instantaneously across the world. We now have the ability to bring together scholars, students, and experts from diverse corners of the globe, creating a vibrant ecosystem of international education that transcends physical boundaries. Our meeting today is but one example of the possibilities that ICT and AI offer to the topic. Why then international partnerships matter? Let me just say that Temkin Foundation enjoys about 270 partnerships from this country and around the globe. And we really do appreciate that and look to expand our partnerships in Africa, Asia, Europe, the Middle East, and the Americas. As we face global challenges such as digital divide, unequal access to quality education, and the rapid evolution of knowledge economies, international collaboration becomes a necessity, not a choice. Partnerships between institutions, governments, and educational technology platforms allow us to bridge these gaps. Is it okay that I continue?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. They provide opportunities for shared learning and resource development that would otherwise be difficult to achieve in isolation. At the Tamkin Foundation, we have witnessed how partnerships both within Africa and internationally have created a space for innovation, allowing us to introduce educational reforms that directly affect students' success. One such example in our partnership is our partnership with African and European universities that focuses on the improvement of the quality of education via the use of ICT and artificial intelligence in education, where we share best practices on the use of ICT within educational processes and AI-driven personalized learning. The collaboration helps us create student-centered approaches that are adaptable to the diversity.
I'm just going to call that.
Could you please kill your mic while talking? Thank you. To the diverse needs of students. Virtual internationalization and technologies. The digital transformation we are experiencing now, accelerated by the global pandemic, has made it clear that technology is the backbone of modern education. Virtual internationalization, supported by cutting-edge technologies, allows institutions to extend their reach beyond physical classrooms. I could talk to you about a lot of things that we experienced during the pandemic and the time we spent home. Now we use technology in this country, I'm sure in other countries as well, to keep on going with other teaching with the all over the country. But this technological advancement also raises key questions about access and equity. We must ensure that the virtual internationalization of education is inclusive and that students in rural or unprivileged areas also benefit from these global opportunities. For that, Temkin Foundation organized some 64 caravans across the country to understand the reality and to kind of deal with that through technology and using ICT and AI as well. Now, the role of policy, I would like to address the role of policy in virtual internationalization. While technology opens new doors, policy frameworks are crucial for guiding its implementation. Without the right policies in place, the benefits of internationalization can be limited. Data privacy, intellectual property, accreditation of online degrees, and the creation of international qualifications are just a few of the policy areas that need urgent attention. For example, when we talk about data security in virtual classrooms, we must consider how international regulations vary and how these differences impact educational platforms. At the Tamkin Foundation, we have worked closely with policymakers to ensure that our digital platforms, such as Tamtech Workplace and Tamtech Seminars, adhere to National Law 0908 on the protection of personal data and international data protection standards as well, creating a secure environment for our students and educators and people at large. Strong international partnerships can also be help shape these policies, ensuring that regulations are harmonized across countries to facilitate smooth cross-border educational exchanges. Yes?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Leveraging partnership to improve education quality is a must, in our opinion. Beyond just facilitating collaboration, international partnerships offer a unique opportunity to improve the quality of education itself. By engaging with diverse institutions, we expose our students in education and educator to new teaching methodologies, innovative research, and global best practices. The time we spent in Crete, in Shania, meeting with all of you and being exposed to the outstanding job that cost us, and this is not being nice to cost us, absolutely not, though I should, was really great and opened so many perspectives to our work. A significant aspect of improving education quality through partnerships is the establishment of joint degree programs, research collaborations, and student exchange initiatives. These efforts ensure that students are not only receiving high quality education, but are also gaining international experience and exposure, which is invaluable in today's globalized job market. At the heart of our work at the Tamkin Foundation is the Tamkin equation for the qualitative improvement of education, which represents a holistic and partnership-driven approach to international transformation. This equation is not limited to just learners, educators, or educational institutions. It encompasses the entire ecosystem of education. The Tamkin equation recognizes that education is a complex system where multiple variables interact, including learners, teachers, administrators, policymakers, parents, communities, and even technology providers. Internationalization enriches this entire ecosystem by creating opportunities for collaboration across all levels and sectors of education. Through international partnerships, learners gain access to global perspectives, knowledge, and resources that broaden their intellectual horizon and prepare them for globalized world. Educators benefit from shared teaching technologies, pedagogical innovation, and professional development opportunities that are often unavailable in isolated national systems. Institutions from schools to universities gain global recognition, improve their operational efficiency through shared expertise, and adopt cutting-edge technologies and educational practices. But beyond these key actors, internationalization also strengthens relationships with policymakers who can learn from global best practices to craft more effective educational policies. It involves parents and communities who gain a broader understanding of the global demands on education and how they can support it. Furthermore, technology providers and other partners can collaborate on creating innovative tools and platforms that address the needs of diverse educational contexts. I won't be long. a couple of minutes. In short, the Temkin equations views internationalization as the force that unites and enhances the entire educational system, fostering a culture of collaboration, innovation, and excellence. By working together across borders, we can create more resilient, inclusive, and future-ready educational systems. At Temkin, we have seen the tangible impact of this approach. Our partnerships have led to the development of new educational tools that cater to the needs of individual students, ensuring personalized learning pathways. This level of innovation would not have been possible without the collaboration of experts from different parts of the world. The future of internationalizations, for that we have a vision. Looking ahead, the future of education will be shaped by how well we can continue to foster and sustain these international collaborations. The Temkin Foundation remains committed to strengthening our network of global partners with a focus on digital transformation in education and ensuring that our solutions are accessible for students and educators no matter where they are. Through these partnerships, we aim to expand our initiatives to reach more underserved regions, ensuring that the promise of internationalization benefits all, not just a privileged few. In conclusion, international partners nature. I invite all of you here today and those in your networks to explore new opportunities for collaboration, as it is only through working together that we can address the challenges facing education in the 21st century. Thank you for your time and attention. Temkin, together we will succeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kadili, for your contribution and your insights about the Temkin Foundation. We have time for just one question. I can see Costas typed in the chat. So, and it is the following: what are the main barriers to apply technology within internationalization actions? Can you please provide examples of use of digital tools used along internationalization activities?
Well, we have developed, thank you for the question. It is an important one. We have developed few, and we're still working on others, a few digital tools that we're offering to our partners and offering all over we go. Resistance to those tools because they do not come from huge companies like the one being used that were offered prior to the pandemic and then during the pandemic. That thing is scarcity of the resources. Companies like and foundation like companies like Tamtech Solution and foundations like the Temkin Foundation, scarcity of the resources to affect and to allocate to communication and to expand the understanding and the exposure of such solutions. Otherwise, and the other one is connectivity. When we're dealing with Africa, for instance, with some countries, Nigeria, be it Nigeria, Guinea, Congo, they have some connectivity problem. Those are the main problems that digital solutions developed by ourselves and our partners do face most of the time.
Thank you very much, Konstantinos, for the question and Abdelillah for the reply. I see Konstantinos raised his hand.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm losing my signal, periodically, but I would like to highlight something important that Abdelillah has mentioned: personalized education. And personalized education right now is the future and the highest priority for higher education, because we cannot lose anyone. Due to the demographic figures, Europe is missing students, missing talents, And we need to be more inclusive and to demonstrate more equity. So what Abdelillah has mentioned about personalized education is the future priority of our institutions in order to universities to have a social impact. This is what I would like to say. I would like to thank my friend Abdelillah for his contribution and very nice presentation. Thank you. And
Thank
Carla
you
is
for the
here.
opportunity. Thank you. Thank you, Kostas, for the opportunity. And I totally agree with you. As a matter of fact, that's what we are proposing to the ministry here and to so many other Ministry of Education and that of higher education. And we are expanding that to some African countries, to Senegal, Guinea, and Ivory Coast. And we will be going to the east of Africa with Kenya, Tanzania, working on that. Yes, you are absolutely right. Personalized education using ICT and artificial intelligence, calling on expertise from Europe, the United States, etc., without having to incur the cost of bringing people over to our country or to those countries, but yet benefiting from the experience and expertise. Thanks a lot once again. I love you guys, and I'll be talking to you whenever it's possible. Thank you, Kostas.
Thank you, Abdelillah and Konstantinos, for the useful insights about the topic of discussion. So I think it's about the time to move to our next speaker. I can see already Professor Pinto. I already shared with you the co-host, so you can share your screen. So Professor Pinto is an associate professor at Polytechnic University of Porto, and she will talk to us about the Math Digger digital escape rooms. Please share your screen and start your presentation. You have 10 minutes plus 5 minutes of a Q&A. Thank you. Please unmute yourself because we cannot hear you.
I know. I'm here. So, George, can you please go and check your email, please? It's important. Okay?
You're not talking to me, right?
I am. Yes, I am.
Please make it full screen, and while I will check my email.
Just give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, so hello to all. Someone is talking, speaking. So thank you, the organization. I think someone is talking, speaking, I don't know. So thank you. Thank you again for the kind invitation. I sent an email to George and Costa saying that I only have 16% of battery. No one in my department has a Lenovo laptop who can lend me a little bit the charger. I've already asked someone else. Let's see how this is going. So I'm going to be very fast. I already sent my slides and also a video for you to watch afterwards, after the talk. So let me just start and give you the best scenario of what we have right now. So Math Digger is a project, an Erasmus Plus project, and it has been going on since February 2022. So it will end in next January 31st, 2025. And so this Math Digger project was thought exactly as digital escape rooms in order to help the students to evade their math prison problems. Okay, so Kostas is here, as well as so his university and himself, and also Christos from Hellenic Mediterranean University. They are our partners. Our partners are also JKU from Linz, Austria, Johannes Kepler's University, also the company, the informatic company which is implementing the digital escape rooms is called MISTEMS or Maxware. And we also have people from Coimbra here in Portugal, the Polytechnic Institute of Coimbra, and also some people from Turkey, Hashtep University. And so we have thought about very much about the difficulties the students have in learning mathematics. And as Confucius said once upon a time before Christ, I see and I forget, I hear and I remember, but I do and I understand. So being able to have the students more engaged, more motivated, more to have more action in our classes, in the sense of involving them more and motivating them more to what we are telling them, to what we are trying to teach them, is incredibly important. We are in the student-centered learning epoch, right? So the students cannot be mere vessels of the learning concepts or the topics that we are teaching them. They are all born in the digital age, and we as teachers, we also need to, you know, keep up with their pace. So they are used to, with one or two fingers, being able to move things, especially online, right? And they worry about a lot of things, okay? From civic engagement to environment, climate change, as you know, mental health is extremely important. And so they are kind of a complete set of human beings, okay? And so we need to move on and teach them in a way that they feel is motivating, and they feel engaged, and they would be eager to learn what we're teaching. It's this part of motivating the students, as you know, is more difficult in topics such as mathematics and physics. Why? Because we teach them in the first year of the university, right? When they get to university, higher education. And so what happens is that they already want applications, etc., and applications of mathematics and physics. They need to be, you know, decomposed in order for them to be able to understand them in this type of because the concepts are too complex for them at their age and at their level, academic level. Okay, so they want to be, you know, enrolled in very practical activities, and this also makes us as teachers more, how do you say, this is a challenge for us to look at our world, to look at the case study, the examples in the real world, and decompose them in case studies in order for the students to be able to apply them at their level, okay? And so in mathematics, you need to modernize, but you cannot forget the part of empathy and trust in the students and give them empowerment in their learning approaches, okay? And so, as you know, also the soft skills are all over the place, and if they don't have soft skills, then their time spent in the future job won't be good enough or enough in order to be able to have experience. They have to be able to work in teams, they have to be able to collaborate, but they also have to be able to critical thinking about what's going on and about the problem that they are posed, and to discuss new solutions with other people too. So I don't know if you remember this movie, it's from Once Upon a Time. His classes were very interesting, but these type of classes are not, okay? So the students want to be more engaged, but in order to be more, you know, hands-on, they also need to have the theoretical concepts. We cannot forget the theoretical concepts. So the hard skills must be there too. I know in 5 years or so, some of these hard skills that we are teaching them right now, they will be surpassed by others, okay? But anyhow, they need to know them by now in order to what? To develop their skills, other skills, all skills, okay? If they don't learn now, they won't, you know, develop their knowledge, okay? They won't develop their critical thinking, and afterwards, when they are posed with different hard skills, so because we have continuous learning, right? Lifelong learning. And so if they don't right now have abstract knowledge and the right balance with applications and think about it critically, in a few years, when they have to learn other hard skills, they won't be able to do it effectively. Okay. So let me just go forward. So our education needs to be agile, okay? And so there was this idea of these digital escape rooms for higher education, okay? And in mathematics, if you go and do some study, they are kind of more or less basic. Can you please mute yourself? Thank you. So in higher education, the digital escape rooms, there are very few, and the ones that exist use Geniali, which is very strict, very basic in the sense it has a lot of constraints. You need to adjust to the templates that they give you, that they provide you. If you want better escape rooms in the sense of more engagement, more fun, more things to be able to do, you need to pay. And I believe the escape rooms were done or implemented by someone who doesn't know math. And so also this is why we have Math Digger, and why we're trying to develop these interesting mathematics digital escape rooms. So here are our partners. I believe I mentioned them all. And in these escape rooms, these digital escape rooms, one thing that is extremely important is the storytelling. So if you are not able to engage the student with a full story, the story which is kind of an umbrella for all of the other stories, for the stories of all of the escape rooms, that of all the rooms that they need to solve the puzzles, etc., then they won't be able to. They will be able to leave the room, but they will be unmotivated and won't feel, you know, like playing it again or something like that. So this is could be one of the stories. And now you can ask me what does this have to do with mathematics? Well, this is epidemiology, okay, and epidemiology you can develop mathematical models to in fact that's what I did with COVID-19, okay, for example, to just mention one. So you can develop mathematical models in order to study the spread of a given infection, okay. And this is one of the most simple mathematical models that you can have. It's called the SIR model. So S is for susceptible, I is for infections, and R is for recovered people. And but again, as I was saying, this is from the movie Last of Us. As I was saying, so you need to engage the students, you need to have a storytelling. In this case here, as you can see, we have another escape room. This one is already implemented and is working full speed. And it's working full speed. It's about photovoltaic energy. It was proposed by the Hellenic Mediterranean University, and then we composed the storytelling around it. So the students have to compute batteries capacities in order to open doors. They need to pick up elements in order to highlight the solar panels and put them to work. They need to fit, for example, in order to be able to charge a battery, they need to fit a function and compute the right parameter values in order to have for that function to charge a battery up to 80%, which is needed for a certain code, 8-digit code, to enter a certain room. Okay, so this is mathematics. Okay, and with a little bit of physics. And also we are here considering, as you can easily understand, the sustainable development goals, because you need to have energy and so how do you call it, clean energy. And so this is mentioning, the story is teaching you about solar energy without you realizing that you are learning a little bit of clean energy, etc. Okay, so this is some of the outputs that they need to, that they have, and that the function is over there. And by the way, this function, everything is random, and I'm only showing you the first part, okay? There's a lot of more tasks related to math that they need to do, and because these, for example, in order to charge the battery 80%, they only extract 2 or 3 digits, and then you have to do also other 2 tasks in order to find the extra 5 digits to open the door. So there's a key code. Sorry. This has been fantastic adventures from the beginning. I know, I don't know, maybe some of you know the Stormy Waters, the song by Rod Stewart. I know it's Once Upon a Time, but it's still a beautiful song that it applies immensely, especially when you are, starting something, a project like this one. And I think I'm pretty sure we will put a little bit, another brick in the path that we need to, to build to. Oops, my PC is telling me that it will disconnect in a few seconds. So please, afterwards, George, just put in the video that I've sent you.
It is done. It is done.
Okay. It is from the second escape room. And this is the Center of Pedagogical Innovation of the Polytechnical Porto. And so the success, as Winston Churchill said once upon a time, goes from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. And I do believe in this. I also believe in Lao Tzu, who said that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. But when he is truly ready, which means that he really knows about what he's doing and applies it perfectly or almost perfectly, then the teacher may disappear. So our work is to, to help the students get to this last stage. So this is me. Thanks again for the organizers. Thank you, Costas. So sorry for this. This is really disconnecting in a few seconds. And you can contact me. And George will send you the slides for everyone who wishes, and also that link for the video of the second escape room, which is, it doesn't show the math tasks, but you can see, so the environment, okay? It's a publicizing dissemination video, okay? So thank you very much again.
Thank you very much. Professor Pinto.
Maybe one question I can reply. This will disconnect in, I don't know. Let me check.
Yeah.
There are a few seconds.
Let us try. Thank you very much, Professor Pinto, for this engaging contribution about your interesting topic, escape rooms. We have one question from Costas again. This is the following: how will you train or convince teachers to use this digital tool?
Well, we, as you know, we have been having these dissemination activities in the sense of these C activities that we have set in the project, but also, so we will have one next week, and then another one in November, okay, for this project, in fact, and you will be here, Costas. And so this is, I don't know if my colleagues here will use it or not. All that I wish that I can convince them with the very good results and motivation results that the students will have after they play. And I wish that, as I've told you, this is a small brick, a small seed that we are planting. And everything starts, all of the revolution starts very slowly. And I think sooner or later this is where it goes. We have to adjust to our and adapt to our students. So that's what it is. Life is what it is, and we as teachers and being able to do the best for our students, or wishing to do the best for our students, sooner or later.
One question should be.
Okay. Did I reply your question, Costas?
I see also Costas has a hand raised, so yes, please.
but I don't know where he is. You're still listening to me, right?
Maybe he's disconnected.
Yeah,
So might be. So thanks once again, Professor Pinto, for the contribution. And I think it's the time to move to our next speaker.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will now make the co-host Ili Smuili. So our next speaker is the Metal Director at Inter-University Computational Center in Israel, and he will dive us to the topic of AI tools for higher education. So please, your screen is already shared. Please make it full screen, and you have 10 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You can see it, the full screen now?
Yes, we can see it. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you, George. Thank you, Kostas, for the opportunity. I will present our activity in Israel about how to integrate AI tools for higher education and how this can support the internationalization. In general, we have 10 minutes, so I'll try to do as much as we can, and then we'll open to discussion. A little bit about Meital. Meital is the Inter-University Center of E-Learning. We assist the Israeli Higher Education Institute in Israel to promote teaching and to promote using technology in teaching and learning. And we are doing that for a long time. It was interesting to hear the group talking about technology, the two speakers before my talk, about different use of technology. And this is something that we are dealing with in Israel for a long time. And it's very interesting to see this different perspective and use of technology, like in math and personal learning. We're dealing mostly with three main activity. I will talk about technology, but we are also as a center of learning and e-learning technology in Israel. We're dealing with research and knowledge center. We support the institute with different researchers and knowledge that can use and share and discuss with others. And we give share case study and a kind of information center. And the other thing that we are doing is having meeting, seminar, and workshop that support and webinars, of course, to support the Israeli Higher Education Institute to improve teaching and learning in these different aspects. And in general, and the third thing is of course, technology, and in general, to create a big community that share knowledge and information together. This is 9 universities that involved in our activity and around 20 colleges in Israel that work together and share information and knowledge and experience. The main activity that we are talking about is learning technology, and we're offering to the Higher Education Institute kind of a learning technologies catalog. Around 50 technologies that we offer them. Based on, for each technology, we have a consortium agreement. And we have a kind of a review on each technology to see how this fits the pedagogical aspect, that's how it fits to the pedagogical needs, and to see how this can improve teaching and learning. And this is the way that we help institute to choose, pick, and integrate technology in their activity. And of course, guidance and tutorials that we have during the year in each technology, and this is something that we are doing. Of course, we have a different infrastructure that that can support the teaching and learning. Some of them deals with the topics that we mentioned before, academic reading. This is Road. This is a platform that we offer, a web work that deals with mathematics for teaching and learning. Of course, Moodle and Big Blue Button. This is different platform. We're not going to talk about it, but this is something else that Meital is offering. That just okay. Now, why to use? Sorry, this is something that I have to. Okay. Why to use AI, of course, in higher education, and this is the topic that I'm going to talk. Of course, this is the needs that we are talking about. First of all, to improve the teaching and learning outcomes. This is something that we all talk about in the modern world. This is that we can accelerate research process to prepare students with AI skills. This is something that we all talking about, literacy skills that we can see more and more, there's some language that somebody's waiting in the waiting room. To prepare students with AI skills, to increase their attentiveness and relevance. And that means if we talked about it, and Costas mentioned that a few minutes ago, that if the institute like to be relevant, we need to bring to be more relevant. We need to be to make sure that we are giving the right way of teaching and learning, and that students can be get all the needs for his teaching and learning, and that means skills. That means the best pedagogies. That means the different models of learning, and that means a new innovation like AI, and this is other tools that can be part of that. And of course, the goal of that is provide academic institute with reliable and adaptable AI tools. And there is some criteria for that: relevance to the academic task and process, popularity and widespread use, simple and easy use, high level of reliability and easy to subscribe, privacy protection, and data security. These are the criteria that we in Meital agree that we need to see how to. That means every technology that we are using, we need some criteria, and this is the criteria that we agree on. And of course, it's related to others institute that are using their own criteria. We try to see how it all works together. And this is the list of tools that we as Meital agree that we need to offer to the higher education institute. This is most of them in AI tools. As I said, we have a catalog of other tools that we offer to higher education institute. And this is something that we are doing for a long time, but we understand that now when we have AI for different needs in the higher education institute, and the higher education institutes are facing a big challenge how to integrate those tools, and how the students can use that, how the students should use that, how it can support teaching and learning. We try to find the best solution. Of course, there's thousands of tools that are available, but we try to find the model to integrate those tools, or kind of offering these tools to the higher education or teacher or institute itself, if it's organization, if it's and we divide it to different needs. That means LLM chatbots. This is a list of the LLM that we think it's relevant at the moment. It can change anytime, and it's changing all the time. But at least the concept is that we can have a chatbot that can support teachers or students, and this is the list that we agree on at the moment. Content generators. This is the tools that we are with discussion with our staff and discussion with teachers. We understand that this is the more common. Of course, it can change anytime, but this is a relevant tools that can offer for creating content. Generative research assistants. I'm not going to go into that. We will go to another slide later. But just to see the topics, it's appear in Hebrew, but here you can see the translation in English. And this is the list of research assistants. AI chatbot and others options. This is something that university are trying to integrate in their supporting teaching and learning. That means in they offer in some cases these tools to teacher to improve their teaching and learning. writing assistants, and a presentation generator, and of course, transcription and summary tools, and text and picture generators, and video. All this, we divided to different aspects that we think can support teacher in a higher education institute, and the needs, the specific needs for this, and we integrate tools to each its category. And another thing that we did is that we have some information related to each tools that we integrate. It has a tools description, technical specification, pricing information. Sometimes it can be bought by the institute itself. Sometimes there is an organization model. In some cases, the teacher should get it by themselves. And so pricing information is very important. And sometimes the tutorials and guidance. So this is all the information that we gather for each technology that are integrated into this catalog or tools kit that we offer them. And another thing is that relevant links, that means different links locally and internationally regarding to the policy and AI regulated ethics, guidance and tutorials, practice example of responsible and implementation. And this is the information that can be ongoing, relevant information that can be added ongoing. Another thing that we had in the last few months, and some of it is with the collaboration with the Impact Project, we brought some good examples of case study, the teacher using AI tools in various way. We had 6 or 7 in Hebrew, and another 6 that we are working together with. I saw Elena here, and of course Kostas, with the Impact Project that we offer to Meital's partners as well. But it's a good example of lecture using AI tools in a various way. This is something that we try to learn from them and to see what works and what doesn't, and to think together how to improve it. A series of AI training workshop and offered by Meital. And our next session is to continue this way and to find more good examples of teaching of different models of teaching and learning, and how to integrate AI tools into the learning environments. And we can see that more and more tools that integrate AI solution in there, that means a very old tools that integrate AI solution. So in all these cases, we like to understand exactly how to offer them, the best way to offer them to the teacher, and after the teacher, of course, the students. And this is the process that we have here in Meital. And we try to work and continue this with different collaboration, of course, with impact partners and with others in Israel and abroad. So this is my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ili, for providing us this introduction, this useful introduction about Meital's activities. And now I will have a look in the chat. I can see already 2 questions, one from Yael Feldman. And it is the following: how do you protect privacy when Meital provides the tool? Or does it mean that you check the tool's privacy policy from the original tool?
Yeah, First, there is the privacy. It's relevant from the AI tools and for of course, any tools that we integrate. There is another 50 tools that we already integrate to the activity. Most of them we are in the basic check of privacy and the GDPR and all these parameters, and see that it works. After that, the institute check that by himself as well, and make sure that it's the regulation, the institute regulation is working as well. About AI tools, it's still complicated issue. We are gathering kind of work groups that will deal with this issue about the privacy and the copyrights and ethics and how to integrate it and bring some recommendation about it. We don't have a solution for that, but I know that more institutes in Israel are trying to solve this issue by give them guidelines that they can use. In general, it's a halfway solution at the moment because AI is still complicated issue. At least we try to bring it work group that work together about it.
Thank you very much, Yael, for the question and Ili for the answer. And I can see also Kostas added another question. What is the impact of AI in scientific writing? And what kind of tools we can integrate into virtual exchanges according to your opinion?
Well, it's a big question that we have to discuss and consider together what kind of tools that we have different kind of tools that can be part of it, but it still need to be discussed. As you see, we have a very big list of tools, but not all of them are, not all of them at the moment are relevant for this solution. But this is something that we have to discuss further and see how to integrate it. We try to find the categories that are at least relevant for teacher at the moment, but we have to go to another layer that means different disciplines. This is something that we need to discuss and see how it can work with impact.
Thank you, Konstantinos, for the question and Ili for the answer, and also Yael for the useful question and contributions. And thanks once again, Ili, for the nice contribution. Really appreciate it. And now it's the time to move on our next speaker, Yael Feldman-Makor. She is a postdoctoral fellow in the Media Technology Interaction Design Division at KTH Royal Institute of Technology in Sweden. And her topic that she will address today for us is using AI tools in teaching chemistry. I will now give you the permission. Just a second.
Okay. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
So now you're the co-host. And please share your screen. You have 10 minutes plus 5 minutes for the Q&A. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen. Please put it presentation mode.
It is in presentation mode. Can you see it now in presentation
Yes,
mode?
now we can see. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So thank you, Kostas and the team for this invitation. And I'm going to speak with you about using AI tools in teaching chemistry. I'm a postdoc fellow at KTH in Stockholm in Sweden, and I'm also a fellow of Digital Futures, which is a research center. And basically, what I'm going to speak with you behind using the AI tools in teaching chemistry is about a paper that I published with my previous colleagues from the Weizmann Institute, my advisors, and it's about perspective of generative AI in chemistry education within the TPAC framework. And here I think that since many of you from education, you might be familiar, but sometimes people are not. So TPAC, how many are you familiar with this framework? You can just put in the question yes, no, you can. So I will just speak about it briefly for the people who are not familiar with the framework, and then we will relate it to the generative AI tools. So TPAC is the Technological Pedagogic Content Knowledge. And basically, it's a framework that builds on a framework that developed during the 80s by Schulman. the PCK framework. And the PCK consists from a few components. So first of all, when we teach, we need to have the content knowledge. If I'm, for example, teaching chemistry, I need understanding of the subject matter, and another person is understanding in mathematics or management or the specific topic that is going to teach the student. Then we need the pedagogical knowledge, because maybe we will have like a good content knowledge, but not the way of teaching it. So the teaching strategies methods are also important. And also the integration between the CK and PK, what we call pedagogical content knowledge, the focus on the integration of teachers' knowledge in teaching. So I will know to choose the specific method for a specific topic, if it should be exercise or lab or something hands-on, or maybe I can use technology or video. And then with the development of the technology, so we have two researchers, Musnisher and Kohler, that actually extended the framework to TPAC, and they added the technological knowledge, which is the ability to use relevant technologies in teaching, and we can integrate it in any of the other components like the CK and PK. So what is the idea with generative AI tool? It's also a technology. But before that, what we actually do with the TPAC, why I use the TPAC. So the TPAC framework actually has proven advantage in education. We can use it when we design professional development for teachers, and we want to make sure that we teach them how to use the technology and how to integrate it with the teaching method and the subject matter. The same when we design curriculum to our students, we can use it, and also for research and evaluation. And even if we develop a tool that is specifically to education, we can use the framework. So when the generative AI tool started to be very popular, it was important to understand what we can do with this framework. And the generative AI actually, besides that it generates new content, it actually adds something new to the education technology options, which is the dialogue process. It's not just a Google search that I can just like ask for a question, but actually if I receive a response that is not exactly what I want, I can ask another question, another prompt, and continue until I feel that I'm okay, or until that I said, okay, it's not good for me, I will try it in another way. So a few studies actually proposed extension of the TPAC to incorporate many AI aspects. And we decided to extend the discussion of TPAC in the age of generative AI for science education, and from the idea of the prompt engineering that I will soon elaborate. So the aim of our paper was to demonstrate the relevance of PCK when applying generative AI learning activities, which is an important topic because when these tools started to attract our attention and we started to use them, so we always think about which skill we still need and which new skill we will need. So we actually argue that our content knowledge and our pedagogical knowledge is still very important. And we also want to discuss the need of additional literacy that we might need besides of the PCK. So from the issue of the dialogue that I showed you before, the prompt that we can repeat and repeat, we highlight that this is partially under the TPAC, but also need more AI literacy. And I'm going to show you our vision with 3 different examples. So the first example is the pedagogical content knowledge. And because of the time limitation, I will not go over the prompt, but what I wanted to emphasize with this example is 2 things. First, it's a dialogue. So the educator starts with one prompt. I just finished teaching molecular and ionic material, which is a topic in chemistry. And now I want to teach my students about the differences between these 2 types of materials. So the ChatGPT, it was back then was 3.5 give answers, and it was not enough. And then the educator sent another prompt and another prompt. And only after 8 prompts, the question was okay. And the educator said, thank you, this is better. Please add suggestions that can clarify any misconception between NOH, and also we continue with another topic. So with this example, I emphasize the dialogue in the history and also the PCK in order to evaluate the information and to actually critically evaluate the responses from the ChatGPT. the educators need context knowledge and the pedagogical knowledge, the all PCK. So this is really still important as a skill of educator, even if the world change and we need more to the student to learn it independently and try innovative pedagogies, our PCK is still very important. Then in the second example, I want to show you what we can do with bias. So bias, the most something that really we can simplify to end user is gender bias or representational bias, because this is kind of a bias that we sometimes can see in the language, if the language is with bias, not in English, for example, but also from pictures. And bias is really something that is complicated in AI because there are types of bias that we cannot see as end user. But this type of bias is something that you can see in the pictures, as I will show you soon. But here I want to emphasize the new literacy the teachers need to know in addition to the PCK. So first of all, it's something that do fall until the TPAC is the idea that the teacher can try to solve the bias by prompts. Like if we articulate the prompts in different ways, so we will receive a new picture, which will be better for us. But the AI literacy that I want to show you here is the awareness of the bias, for example, for gender and representational bias. And what we actually have here is a set of pictures. And in the first picture, the educator just asked the chat in A, please generate me a figure of a chemist, and then we receive the white female man. And only after a few prompts, when the educator actually asked for, please generate me a picture of one female and one male, so we actually received two pictures of male and a female. Then we tried it also with representational bias. And when the educator asked for the ChatGPT to generate a picture of a chemist, we received again a picture of a white male. We didn't learn even that it was like one after one. It's only after a few prompts when we actually asked for something which will be more representative, we received a group of chemists and something that we can say that not a representational bias. So what I wanted to emphasize is that if the educator will have the awareness to that things like fairness and bias, and it can be different in different cultures, we can actually sometimes solve it just by prompts and then present it to the student or integrate it in the class. The last examples that I want to show you is about elucidations, which actually means reliability. And the idea that sometimes these tools actually invent something in the responses. And it's also a literacy that we need to know, because we need to know that this exists, and then we will know how to look for this. So this is the solution basically. Teacher must critically evaluate AI-generated content. And if I will show you the example, so what the educator asks here is something like that. I want to learn about chemistry student misconceptions. Can you please provide me a list of references? So the chat provided a list of references, but actually, when the teacher checked it, he saw that even that, for example, these researchers was actually a chemistry education researcher, this specific paper is not exist. So with the dialogue, the educators write it to the prompt that this is like the list of references is not accurate, and maybe the chat can add the DOI number or additional details. And the chat actually said, I apologize for the oversight, which sometimes we can see it in the response. And here we can see this paper might not exist, but the researcher itself has written extensively on chemistry education. You might find relevant material in his work. So actually, after we continue this dialogue and conversation, maybe at the end we will receive something more accurate, but we need to be aware. And for example, for references, so there are LLM models, for example, the ChatGPT-4o, which we need to pay for it currently, actually give us much more accurate references. But it was an example just to say that it can also be in another context, but we must check the content also in relation to what I showed before our subject matter knowledge, but also with other type of things like the content here that just require the checking of the references and not specific our subject matter. So what is our contribution for this? We identified the prompt sequence for partially under the TIP component of TIPAC for generative AI. And by this, we actually add to the previous studies that published in these topics. And we emphasize the vital role of teachers TIPAC for effective generative AI application. And also we identified critical AI knowledge aspects that extend behind the current TIPAC framework and its recent extension. So it's not just how to use the technology, but we also need to be aware for other type of knowledge, for example, the bias issue. And what are the implication or future direction in this topic? So first, incorporate AI-specific dimension to TIPAC to better prepare educators. And I think that here, Eli also spoke about it, that they have a workshop for educators and students. So this is something that we can add to this kind of workshop, emphasizing AI literacy in professional development. And also, of course, to continue to study this, it's just the beginning. So further study on integrating AI competencies into teachers' knowledge frameworks. And I think that that's all. I just want to show you my email in case you want to be in touch. And let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you very much, Yael, for this very interesting and informative presentation. And congratulations for your contribution on this topic. And I can see Costa's question, and it is the following. What is the suggested pedagogy academic actions to facilitate the understanding of technology within our academics and students? This is the first, and the second, I will read it after you address the first one.
Okay, so for the first one, it actually goes together. What I learned from all the issue of education technology, that sometimes as educators were a bit afraid from that, but students sometimes, especially in higher education, are much more faster than us. So I realize also when I speak with students in Sweden and also in Israel, for example, that they actually use ChatGPT and all these kind of tools, and we as educators need to understand how to use it. So here I spoke with the TIPAC about educator. What I usually said to students when they ask me, because we have another study here in Sweden about the student, is that it depends how you use it. If as a student, I now have like a programming problem or mathematical problem, and I just take the problem, put it in ChatGPT, and it give me the answer. So I didn't do anything. I didn't learn. But if as a student, I have problems and I use the ChatGPT and I ask just for hints, or I just ask him, maybe can you help me? Or I don't understand, please explain me. So when I see this kind of use of with students of the ChatGPT, it maybe can help them. But also there are students that can understand it intuitively, but there are students that don't understand how to use it properly and wisely or in a responsible way. And we need to teach the students. We need to organize the workshop of I use it within the pedagogy, like try to learn with this, but also as we spoke before about all this privacy and copyright issues, so they also need to be aware for this. If they just put something in the chat and just ask for suggestion, or if they generate information. So students need to understand that it's not just like a magic tool and easy to use, but they need to understand also the literacy and what goes beyond. So this is my perspective about the students.
Thank you very much, Konstantinos, for the question, and Yael for the answer. I saw, Konstantinos, you tried to unmute. You want to add something?
No, I would like to, to add a general comment that a lot of people, and this is correct, that, you need to have soft skills, critical thinking in order to start to trust and use tools like AI, like, ChatGPT, for example. However, in order to develop the critical thinking, you need to have the old-fashioned, let's say, good knowledge of your topic, because the good knowledge builds the critical thinking. It's not coming, someone is a critical thinker, probably it's someone everywhere. In the train now that I'm traveling, I can see a lot of critical thinkers. But if I'm going to ask them something in physics and they are not from physics, this will not help. So I would like to emphasize that, in order to develop these soft skills, in this aspect, you need to have knowledge. and to know and have a sense of your field. And this will help you to engineer then the questions through the ChatGPT, question to question, only when you have the feeling, at least the initial feeling of your discipline. This is, a general comment, and this is related to my second question. Like, I think it's enough, digital skills in order to use technologies to apply what we need to develop when we develop anything, concept, content, and application. So if you have, the content, you know the concept, the content, and you apply it, then you can use any technology, of course, if you have digital skills. This is like my comment, that because, in the previous also speakers, I can listen, this critical thinking. Critical thinking is not something that's coming by automatic. You need to build it, and I think the only way is like the knowledge.
So first of all, Costas, I agree with you, and with the TPAC framework.
And I would like to say, I like very much your basketball image at the end. the basketball.
Yes, this is because I think that our goal, like to improve education, is really difficult. So it's the one is the basketball. But regarding the presentation, so I agree what you said. And actually, the PCK, this is the knowledge and the teaching method. So I need my PCK, I need my content knowledge in order to teach. It's something that teacher cannot replace. And when we started this perspective paper, we started from this direction. Like, this is why actually, that we need the PCK. And then if we continue to check it, we saw that in addition to the content knowledge, which is important, that there is no replacement, in the age of AI, we need to also add this AI literacy, for example, like bias, because like, for example, 10 years ago, we still have this kind of bias in Google Photos and other stuff, but we didn't speak about that because it was not something that someone taught us. But now, if we will add this kind of literacy in for professional development, so of course, so people will be aware also for that. So it's the combination. But yes, the PCK, like the content knowledge and the knowing how to teach is still important. It's still a skill the teachers need to know. And for students, by the way, it's also like when we tell them how to use the technology, it's also like warning if you're not sure that this is the correct answer, so you can check it. And by the way, what I can say from students is sometimes it depends on the discipline. Sometimes they have something with programming. So if they have like a code that works, they actually said, okay, it works, I know it's true. But if it's another subject, they actually need really to assess if they received an accurate or not the accurate question. So we also need to conduct researches about each specific discipline to understand the differences and what's similar and differences. But thank you for this comment.
Thank you both, Konstantinos and Yael, for the very insightful discussion, and thanks again for the presentation. We can move now to our next speaker prior to the last one. He's from Denmark, Kim Jaer Mortensen. He is the co-founder of Diploma Safe, and he will talk to us about the Diploma Safe platform issuing micro-credentials. I will now make you the co-host. Just a moment. Kim, okay. Co-host. Excellent. Please share your screen, and you have 10 minutes for your presentation. Thank you.
Excellent. I'll do that. Just bear with me. Did my share screen option disappear now? There we go. Nope, it's here. Hold on. Let me know if it says sharing
Excellent. Thank you very
the
much.
right stuff here. Good. Yeah. Just give me 1 second. What can you see now? Can you see the presentation on my full screen?
Your full screen.
My full screen.
Your presentation in full screen mode. Yes.
Yes, in full screen mode. Okay,
Yes.
good.
Excellent.
Yes, I'm trying to get it out of. I'm in a summer house on the west coast of Jutland in Denmark. So here the connection can be a little shabby. But okay, thanks a lot for having me. I'm Kim, one of the co-founders of DiplomaSafe, and I have brought about 20 years of experience to DiplomaSafe from working with software as a service offerings. The last 20 years, and here we are kind of harnessing that power of digital credentials, and I'm rather passionate about bringing this technology to students, learners, and education institutions globally. So at DiplomaSafe, we don't only focus on micro-credentials. Our platform supports all levels of credentials. So my talk today will not only be about micro-credentials, but cover all types of credentials supporting students globally. The space that we operate in is more or less this credential ecosystem. So universities globally, more or less, provide different types of programs and learnings to students and professional learners, executive training on different levels. And this is the type of education offerings that we typically support with digital credentials. Now, micro-credentials specifically, as it was part of the headline of the topic today, is still a new topic. I'd say it's still being discussed. The EU Commission just last year decided on a formula and a guide to help education providers create micro-credentials, but also issue micro-credentials. And we more or less follow that development. And on our board is also one of the authors of some of the recent reports on micro-credentials for Europe. Is there a question already, or?
No, it's myself who encourages the audience.
That's okay. All right, no problem. So why does digital credentials matter? Well, if you look at it from an issuer, a university, college, school point of view, it really helps that university, that issuer, that administrative task to reduce a lot of time, resources, and thereby also costs. Going away from printing, packing, posting, manual verification processes, and handling return to sender and so forth can be quite the task when you have a lot of students attending university. So with lots of graduates, there's a lot of manual tasks involved. Even some places still wet signatures is a thing, handwritten signatures on documents, seals, and so forth. So removing that out of the equation eliminates a lot of tedious work. And by doing that, you also eliminate credential fraud because digital credentials are supported by different verification methods. We work specifically with global methods, W3C approved standards, such as block certs, open batches, and for Europe specifically, it's EPSI, the European Blockchain Service Infrastructure, that supports the verification, authenticity, and credibility of credentials issued via our platform. In Europe at the moment, there's a lot of pilots evolving the European Blockchain Service Infrastructure that we are also involved in to support the development of creating an infrastructure for digital identities in Europe. One of the things we quickly noticed, we've been around for 8 years now and help universities globally with the issuance of credentials on various levels. But for specifically macro level credentials, they usually need to be verified in some sort when graduates want to apply for a new job or go to another university. And for one specific school in Copenhagen Business School, they received 25 calls or emails a week where they had to verify these students manually. So by removing that out of the equation, you can also support students with a more instant verification that is easily done via a click on a website. By applying this, you also give students their data, and they can use that data as they see fit, according to how the privacy regulations work. So as soon as you have issued the data, the credentials to students, they own it and can share that with who they see fit, but in a secure and safe environment. One of the side effects of digital credentials that we've seen over the last 8 years is that once you receive proof of education, proof of completing a course, it also gives you a belief in yourself, and you also want to share that with your world and your network on social media, add it to your LinkedIn profile, or wherever you want to share. You have new skills that can be applied. So a lot of students add these credentials to their profiles and also share them as updates on social media, which is a great traffic driver for universities and colleges, because there's no better way to brand your institution than to do it through your own students who talks about how great this education was, as this course they attended was. So it's a great way also to grow your brand as a reputable institution that are also using new technologies to support students in the 21st century. So, as I mentioned before, we are part of some European projects. I just took a screen dump from a website here, but we're basically part of some projects on EU level with the European Commission on building the infrastructure for digital identities and also credentials specifically. And that involves hosting the European Blockchain Service Infrastructure for Denmark together with the Ministry of Digitization. It also involves a project on MCU, which is micro-credentials for Europe specifically, where we are focusing on hospitality, because that sector was heavily hit during COVID, and is an area where we really need to reskill, upskill fast, and also create a new layer of motivation for that specific sector. We work globally with universities across the globe. We are present in 35 countries. We have a location and head office in Denmark, which is also where our background is from working with the Danish Digital Identity Scheme many years ago already. Very short on how it works. We connect to the university's LMS CRM, student information system, or it can also be done semi-automatically via uploads. Some are doing that still. And then the diplomas, certificates, badges, or whatever format you need to issue to students based on what courses you wish to support with digital credentials is created in DiplomaSafe, and all the data is connected and the credentials are issued to the student. Depending on where you're at, in what geography or country that you reside, you can apply different types of technologies to support the verification model of credentials by creating an extra layer, giving the student full access to the credential. Also, in the case that, let's say, for some reason we don't exist at some point, then these verification models that are in play support students forever until also they go out of business. But these European models will probably prevail. Just a quick view. This could be a certificate issued to a student. This is just an example from Copenhagen Business School. Here's another template from Copenhagen University. So what you can do on the platform is basically create any version, any design. So it all relates to your identity, your tone of voice, and also that it's something that students can relate to, that it actually comes from a specific organization. So in this term, digital credentials support not only micro credentials, but also macro credentials and other courses that are run on a university. Students can access all their credentials via the platform and share them with who they wish to share them for a shorter period of time, if that's necessary. If there's any grades involved, they can choose to share that for a day with a password and so forth. So this model more or less support internationalization, and I'm glad to be speaking here today because this really speaks into inclusion. It speaks into the not only the European but the global skills agenda that we see moving right now. Some companies has already, as part of their strategy, turned to skills-based hiring and moved away from degree-based hiring. And to support skills-based hiring, you need digital credentials with a layer of approved assessed skills that are easily machine-read. So we play a vital role in creating more inclusiveness and equality for students globally. So it's not only about your degree and that you went to Ivy League university, but that you actually did a course, got some skills, and you can apply those skills in your job journey and your career journey going forward, and they can be developed because these skills are usually easily stacked. So you can stack skills as you go along. You don't need to start with a degree. You can get a level of skills, and then you can move along and grow from there and grow your digital assets within a platform like ours. So we come from a level of trust, and that has been our backbone always. So if you can be anything, then our motto is be credible at least. So that was very short about DiplomaSafe and what we do and how we work, and I'm open for questions.
Thank you very much, Kim, for your insights about DiplomaSafe and micro-credentials. I can see already in the chat, Konstantinos is bombarding the chat with his input. So let's start one by one. With the first one, okay, let me accept also people. What is the percentage of universities in Europe that apply micro-credentials and in which programs?
That's a very good question. I wouldn't know the exact percentage, but I can tell you that it's rather low. There's been a lot of talks about this over the last few years. We've been involved in various workshops with universities who are trying to break down traditional programs into bite-sized micro-credentials. So I can't tell you the exact percentage, but I can say that it's probably rather low at the moment. I think we'll see a lot more movement in other sectors than higher ed that will move a lot faster to support the workforce in this space, where education is also delivered. So from our standpoint, it seems that higher ed has a huge task ahead of them trying to adapt to the new reality of how students can achieve learning and competencies, because you don't necessarily need to do that at your local university. You can more or less attain that knowledge a lot of other places today.
Thank you very much for the reply. And the next one is again from Kostas what are the main hesitations to apply micro-credentials in higher education programs?
Yeah, another good question. I think the hesitation, at least from the universities we've spoken to, has related to quality. Are we absolutely sure, or are they absolutely? Their concern is, are they able to deliver the same level of quality through micro-credentials as they can with other programs? Because how do you, in Europe, for instance, how do you deliver a course that's broken into, let's say, 2 test points? Is that at all possible? Is it doable? Do we even need that workload as part of it? If you ask us, you don't, because it's all about attaining a competence that doesn't need to have an each test point as part of it, as long as it's a skill you can apply. But there, I think the main concern is quality. Are we able to deliver the same level of quality in our micro credentials as we are on macro level?
Can I comment? Can I comment this later? As far
Absolutely.
as I have a signal here. So I think that, you know, in my personal perception is like quality should not be the issue, because if you would like to issue something and if you would like someone to use it, by definition, you should provide as high quality as possible. Otherwise, no one is going to use it. So you are losing your time. You are missing your time. So the quality should be there from the beginning of the design. And another comment that I have is that we should not confuse micro-credentials with ECTS. ECTS is just the workload. Micro-credential is like the whole process. It's much different things. So I will say quality should not be there. It's not. I don't think so that the quality is the main issue of the majority of the academics or the majority of the institutions that they block the use of micro-credentials. I think is they are not aware of the potential. This is my perception.
Yeah, I totally agree. I can only say what when we spoke to universities here, at least, that was part of their concerns, the quality and how that could be transformed into micro-credentials. And I totally agree, ECTS should not be part of, it doesn't necessarily have to be part of it. And that's where the guidelines from the EU Commission are very up to interpretation. So you don't need it, and it's not the ECTS is not the reason for micro-credentials. Micro-credentials is basically another way of acquiring skills that you can apply in jobs that evolve really fast as well. So we need to be able to deliver micro-based courses and learning, so we can keep a certain level of knowledge and competencies, because the jobs we have today will not, or the jobs we'll see in 10 years doesn't even exist today. So we need to be able to reskill and upskill faster. We can't do a degree every 5 years to understand what's going on.
Thank you very much for the reply. And the next question is like skills-based hiring or competence-based hiring?
Yeah, but I mean, this is the question. Let me define, because, you know, we are talking a lot that we should move away from the knowledge-based testing evaluation. We should go to the competence-based evaluation, which is something that the students, as you said, also as a future employees, they are going to be called to show. So we should stop, you know, to do examinations based on the knowledge base, but on the competence base, what you can do with this knowledge. This is my argument. Probably when you were talking about skills, you meant competencies. So I totally agree.
Yes, yes, correct. Actually, the tendency also in our sector is we move away from like course certificates. Now it's called competence certificates rather than course certificates. So that's also a new way of understanding what does this certificate actually mean. Well, it means you have some competencies. In relation to micro-credentials, those competencies actually has been assessed before it's, you know, a skill that is applicable on a micro-credential level. So whereas you could attend a course where there's no assessment, and you could probably get some competencies, but they would not have been assessed. So that's also the difference from having a competence certificate or a competence proof, and then having a proof of attendance or proof of completion and so forth. Yeah. And it's true that Dario, as you say, you use micro-credentials. They're not aware of what they're obtaining and how to exploit them. But basically, there's also some misconception in what, like everybody's talking about micro-credentials, but nobody has probably agreed, and the EU has really tried to create a guide, which is also up for interpretation. So there's a lot of work still to be done in the understanding of this space. But basically, it's you have done a program or a course and you have some new skills and you can apply it. That's basically what it is. So now it's up to you to use those skills and apply them in the best possible way and keep learning, because micro-credentials are also building blocks for, for continued learning. And usually they could be part of an earning pathway. We see that with our customers, at least, that they build earning pathways within our platform so that they can showcase to students, you have done module 1 of 3, you have done these great, you have these great competencies now, but if you continue growing, you have this course you can attend and this program, which is then building an earning pathway or a learning pathway that you can make as visible to students who's done 1 or 2 programs.
I would like to make a comment on this. This is, the paradox of the universities. When, the universities, they complain from the European Commission, we would like more autonomy and more autonomy. When the European Commission is giving their autonomy because they are providing recommendations, then the academics, they say like, we don't know how to do it. So you can see a paradox here.
Absolutely.
On the other hand,
but I think one of the best
this is very
examples here, I don't know if you're out of time, but one of the very good examples is from the South Danish University, that they started something. It's not micro-credentials, but it's just to talk about their approach. They started something they called nano-degrees, which is basically small bite-sized courses done as video training. And it took them a year and a half or so to really get it, operational and functional and usable. But the way they did it was simply to do it, get some knowledge, apply that knowledge, get some feedback, apply that feedback, because sometimes to grow into a more mature way of maturing, sometimes going in the deep end and simply just doing it, and then trial and error until you have something that works. So that's what they did, and it's been a huge success. After they did this trial set up for a year and a half.
Sorry about this. In order to be a little bit provocative, I would say that the universities are still relevant because universities, they build a culture and the culture builds innovation. So I totally agree with you that hiring should be based on the competencies, and probably you can take them through a nano or a micro degree now, because you need, let's say, programmers using Python, for example. But in order to have the culture, in order to be innovative and be useful for a company, you need something more, which is a culture. And this is building through, within the university.
Yes, and you also need to have courses that speaks to your audience. So let's say you have all your journalists that did a bachelor degree, but they still miss 2 years. But now they all have kids and houses and cars, and they have a job also, so they cannot go back and complete the 2-year master probably, and they cannot get their employer to pay for it either. So how do you do that? You have to build programs that caters to that market, and that's actually what they did exactly with these nano degrees on SDU, catering to journalists specifically. By giving them bite-sized training, they can do like 15 minutes, half an hour a day, and so forth.
Thank you very much, Konstantinos and Dario and Kim, for this very insightful discussion. Indeed, we're a bit over the schedule, but I think our time is well invested. We learned a lot from you. So thanks once again for this contribution. And we can move now to our last speaker for this technology discussion about virtual exchanges, and it will be given from Dario Assente. He's a professor of electrical engineering at UNITUNO Telematic University, and his topic he will cover is remote and virtual labs for STEM education, inclusion, and accessibility in the area of digital education. So thanks, Dario, for being with us and for your contribution. I'm giving you now the co-host. Please share your screen and start your presentation. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. I've discovered quite a long presentation, so I will try to be fast, also because we are late. Yes, okay. I'm giving this presentation since we are a distance university and we carry out several activities on remote virtual labs, and I think it's valuable for this set of presentation. Okay. Just a quick introduction. Of course, digital tech in the digital area, new technologies are an impact on several fields, also in education, in particular in introducing digital learning environments as a support with respect to traditional education, in particular in STEM. Digital learning environments can break barriers that are existing in traditional education, like geographical location, physical access, flexibility in terms of technological access, but also in students' engagement. There are long literature about how to employ digital technologies to support STEM education in particular. There is scalability of resources, cost effectiveness in terms of sharing digital technologies that are cheaper and more efficient with respect to traditional, for example, to traditional laboratories. There is a benefit in terms of inclusiveness and accessibility with people with disabilities. There is flexibility in terms of space and time, and this is a higher level of customization. So benefits of digital technologies in education are clear and cover different ranges. But in my presentation, I'm focusing on virtual remote labs. Virtual remote labs are kind of digital resources that can replace in such a way traditional laboratories and can be a support in STEM topics. First of all, just some definitions, and then I will go through some examples. With an online lab, we define a software that is performing a simulation of some experiences. So the students interact with this PC or through internet with the web server where there is a simulation of an experiment. Of course, in this case, there is no need of hardware. There is a high scalability because it's just necessary to multiply the number of software in order to provide more students with the experience. There are few maintenance costs. It's risk-free because there is no physical risk for the students, but there is a lack of hand-on on the experience, and also the simulation, of course, cannot, even if well implemented, cannot replicate reality. So there is a limitation on the description of physical or the physics behind. With remote labs, instead, we mean real experiments that are controlled at distance. So there is somewhere an experiment, for example, now here in Rome, students in Crete would like to control it through internet. He can connect to a web server that is connected to a webcam that can monitor the experiment, and then through our interface, he can control the experiment. It's not like a traditional experiment, but we can say it's a semi-hands-on activity because through the webcam, it looks something that takes place in real time, and here a direct feedback of what is happening. he has access to a direct equipment, but of course hardware is needed, and there are also scheduling constraints because it's necessary to plan and access to real resources at the same time. Something more trendy are the so-called ultra concurrent or deferred labs that are real experiment controlled at distance, whose activities are recorded and turned into a virtual labs. So you make several videos of all the possible activities of the real experiment, and then you replicate it through a software. The students believe that is interacting with the remote lab, even if it's interacting with a virtual lab, because everything is recorded, but everything is very close to reality because it's not a simulation, it's a recording on something real. This has low maintenance cost, no problem, is easy scalable, but it takes quite a complex implementation. And now let's go to some examples of virtual remote labs. As in Nettuno, we are a distance university, so we have a big problem with for engineering students with the interactional labs. So even 25 years ago, where there were very first adoption of internet, we just started to use some early example of remote labs, or virtual labs, sorry. Now we have modern virtual labs for advanced engineering simulation. Our website that I would like to advise all you is PET. PET Interactive Simulation is probably the largest collection in the world of interactive simulation. It's an initiative of University of Colorado. They have here the target of 1.5 billion simulation delivered. This is a huge, very interesting initiative where you can access to more than 170 simulation from elementary school to university. You can also download, you can embed this simulation in your courses. So if you want to enter in the world of real lab, this is for sure one of the most important references worldwide. A new trend in virtual labs is represented by the 360 immersive virtual labs that now are going to become popular through the use of visuals and controllers, because with 360 immersive virtual labs, it's not something that you control with your mouse and your screen, but with controllers and something like an Oculus or Google visors. You have the feeling to be inside the lab, and you can move and make operation that make the training activity much more closer to reality. Another interesting example of virtual labs that I really recommend is Easy Java Simulation. This is an example. This is a tool developed by the Universidad de Murcia. According to my experience, is wonderful. I use it with my students because what you see, the animation that you see on the right, is a virtual lab developed by one of my students. It's very nice because it allows students with very, very basic programming skills to create from zero a virtual lab because it implements several things, including the graphics. So you just need to add physics and everything will work. Sorry, I switch off the audio. We already have several labs here at Nettuno. For example, this is a semi-industrial data robot that is available in our labs. We have developed a web interface that allows the students to fully control it, and he can understand the basic functioning of this robot, but he can it's used also to teach industrial programming languages like G-code that students can write, can run the code and see the robot making complex movement. This is another application that we have realized for another European project. It's a remote lab realized with Lego Spike. It's connected through a software that we have developed to an Raspberry Pi, and so allow to make remote robots that are very popular with STEM, remotely controlled. And we use them for STEM education in lower classes, of course. Let me go through. Okay. Our site I would like to really advise about remote labs is Labsland. It's a spin-off of the Universidad de Deusto. It's one of the largest communities worldwide of remote labs. They have a huge amount of remote labs existing in several continents. They have remote labs connected from Australia to Latin America, to Europe. And through their platform, you can access to all these kind of remote labs. If you want, you can join the community, you can add your own. And so it's a great value, a great opportunity to to use real labs controlled at distance in several contexts. So just to conclude, remote virtual labs are valuable opportunities to enhance education through digital solution. They offer flexible and cost-effective solutions. And are able to remove physical barriers and financial constraints. And in my vision, in the next future, the networks of remote labs will be high trend, really valuable in for a network of universities. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor, for the contribution on the contribution about this topic. I see Kostas is asking you about your software, if it is LabVIEW.
For the
No, I mean, you mentioned view transparency is that have a real-time access of the lab equipment live. So are you using LabVIEW as the interface in order to have this access?
No, we are not using LabVIEW because everything is running with Raspberry Pi for a simple implementation. So it's software developed inside Raspberry's custom software. With LabVIEW is possible, but it's needed a PC for each experience. We wanted something smaller, more flexible, more modular, more portable, let me say.
So you're demonstrating the access is not a laboratory research for demonstration purposes, no?
No.
When we are using LabVIEW?
Yes.
When you're using LabVIEW,
No.
you're using in order to access, research lab or research, big research equipment. So from your response, I understood that you're using something like a Wi-Fi connection in order to control something in a small scale. Am I right?
In such a way, yes, it could be used also for larger implementation, but the idea is to make something small, scalable, and portable, so something that can be easily replicated. LabVIEW requires is for bigger experiments and with higher level of complexity. Personally, I use LabVIEW for myself. But the idea of this kind of implementation is to make something easily accessible, so easier.
And in order to help George, in order to not read all my questions, whatever you have demonstrated, it's just like for my confirmation, is an open access software, like, this kind of demonstrators of open or digital laboratories. Am I right?
Yes, most of these laboratories are open. Yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Dario.
Thanks.
And I would like to request all the speakers to share with us, their presentations, because I would like to upload them through the website in order to be accessible to anyone who has participated or will follow asynchronously our Erasmus days. So thank you, all of you, and especially George for the backup.
Thank you, Dario, once again for the contribution. Thanks to all the speakers, and tomorrow we conclude this Erasmus Days with the Association and Higher Education Institute's representatives. So thanks once again for being with us, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Kalinichta in Greek.
Tomorrow, let's give a brief introduction what we are going to have tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to have the big associations and other experts, regarding virtual exchange, BIPs. We're going to summarize from, this perspective of the association's point of view, in order to see also, the importance of virtual internationalization, digital tools in higher education and in research. So until tomorrow, as George has mentioned, Kalinikta in Greek, and we are going to share with you the recordings. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.